of America, with your hosts, Michael and Jacob.
Big welcome to the channel. Hello. Wait, did I not put an episode number? I don't think I did. It's episode 100 and... Dang, what did the thumbnail say? 194? I think it was. 194? How are you doing? Welcome into episode 194. I think. Maybe. How are you doing? Hope you're too blessed to be stressed. Look who's making a return. Oh, and he's getting up for you and everything, you stinky dog. There he goes. Look, there's Chewy. There he is. Figure, why not bring the Chewster out? How's everyone doing? It's just really hot today in El Paso, Texas. But good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. I don't know, whatever time it may be for you. Hope you are too blessed to be stressed. Hopefully, is it? Nope, it's Tuesday. I thought it was Wednesday or something. But big up. Hope y'all doing well. Obviously, not too much news other than the usual hubba blub. So I wasn't even sure if I was going to go live today. And something else happened right before I went live. Erik Ten Hag confirmed to be staying at United. And it's funny that they released that information today, the day that they also say this that I've got right there. From Football Insider saying Manchester United and Tottenham are set to battle it out to sign Crystal Palace winger Eberechi Eze this summer. So they've joined the conversation. I know Arsenal flirted with the idea, but it's majority. God dang, man. English language is quite a hard thing, I suppose. But before I keep going, let me say hello to the chat. Make sure you say hello to Chewy. Hit a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel. We just hit 4,500 the other day. So big up to everyone who did that. Big up. Salam alaikum to you, Taka. First place prize. I think I need to bring out the prizes again. Start giving first place prizes away to people who are here commenting first. So big up to Taka. How are you doing? Salam alaikum, y'all. Alaikum salam to you, my friend. George is here. Let's hope it's Spurs. We can only pray. Mount Everest Hotspurs says, is that right? Hell no. We are so desperate for Eze. I don't know if desperate is even the word that I would use, Mount Everest Hotspur. I would say thirsty. I guess desperate is thirsty. Like, you don't be thirsty without desperation. And I feel desperation to get this over the line. Because like Stefan here says, not going to lie, if we don't end up getting him, I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to be really upset, emotionally distraught. Because his price came out the other day. If I'm not mistaken, the price tag came out and it's like 60 mil for his release clause. We spent 60 million on Richarlison. We spent 60 million, 55 million, whatever, on Brennan Johnson. I would say Eze, I rank him higher than both of those players. And if his release clause is 60 mil, we need to get it done. Get it done now. Come on now. Big up George, waiting for the show to start. Sorry for being late, my friend. I was taking a shower. That's actually why I have this hat on, because if not, then my hair is going to get all frizzy. And it really, I don't need to look like a damn wombat. I don't think wombat. That wouldn't look like a wombat. That didn't make sense. I'll be honest right now. I'm actually trying to change the title because it's very upsetting that I don't have the episode number in the title. I'm very dumb about those kinds of things. There you go. Episode 194. Put it in the title. Boom. But as you know, there it goes. All right, we saved it. There you go. Hello, George. Big up, George. Big up, Phil Coys. Maybe I can continue with the show because my my weird brain, I guess, because usually I can, like right here where I'm pointing at, I know y'all can't see it, but where I'm pointing at on my screen is where I can see the episode number. And so like it's not there and it makes me feel weird. It's like leaving the house without your wallet or something. It feels off. Big up Phil Coys, my brother Phil. How you doing? Says Eze and Elise. Get them both in. I want us to be ruthless. Now, Phil Coy's, big up to you, first of all and foremost. Big up, good evening. It's pretty late out there for you, just past midnight. So, freshly into the morning. But, Phil, what I would say is I'm actually concerned because Elise has all these links as well to Chelsea. I think I have something bookmarked on that, actually. Something about, oh, there it is. There it is. Let's share this tab. And let's do this. Browser had lost connection to your screen share audio. Why does it do that? That's so weird. Anyway, today, apparently, according to these people, Chelsea have agreed to personal terms with Crystal Palace, Michael Olise. And Hotspur Report says it's been reported by many sources that Palace won't sell both Elise and Eze in the summer. So it's got to be one or the other, according to this guy or gal at Hotspur Reports. For me, that's worrying because Elise, that he's been rumored with a bunch of people. But at the end of the day, if you got a release clause, you'd imagine you got to just go ahead and get it done. I don't know. Maybe that's too much. Maybe I'm asking too much. But big up, Phil. Good to see you in the house. Big up, Stefan Blois. Stefan Blois. I never know how to say your last name, but big up, Stefan. It's a familiar name. Says, not going to lie, I already read this comment. But yes, I will be pissed off as well if we don't end up getting Eze because honestly, one, the other, both. Give me both. In an ideal world, I get both, but I don't think we're gonna get both if I'm honest. So go get you an Eze, go get you a Tony. That's a great way to start off the window, in my opinion. Good morning, Ren says, yo, big up, fellow internet people. Big up to you, Ren. Good morning to you all the way out there and. What is it, Wollongong? I don't know. Welcome back, Chewy. Yes, George. Welcome back to Chewy. Big up to you, Woodsy. How you doing? Eze is a Clinton. When I see Clinton, I just think about Bill Clinton, and I feel bad for all the innocent souls. James Harden, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. James Harden was he? No way. He was Defensive Player of the Year 3 times. Maybe I forgot those 3 years. It says, I'm loving Big Ange instead. And isn't that a beautiful... You know what? James Harden, I don't know if you're actually a Spurs fan. I thought you were someone... I've seen you in a lot of chats. But since you said this, I'm going to go ahead and play you an Ainge clip. Now, I think that's a much better song to do all that dancing to as opposed to this I'm loving Big Ange instead. I'll be honest, that song doesn't do much for me. I didn't really know that song before we made it the Ainge song, and it doesn't... Who's it, Phil Collins? I don't even... Yeah, I don't really care for the song. I'll be honest, I'm loving Big Ange instead. Maybe you should replace it. I think that was Lil Yachty. I think Lil Yachty would do a better job at giving us an Ainge Postecoglou song. Chewy the Legend returns. Yes. Big up Ken T. Big up from lovely New Jersey. Big up from very, very hot El Paso, Texas. It is very, very hot. Thirsty for Eze. No comment. Rate him higher than both Richarlison and Johnson. 3 wrongs don't make a right, That's fair enough, but I don't think Eze's a wrong. Or, yeah, because you're saying this would be the 3rd wrong. I don't think that Eze or Elise would be a wrong. I don't know. Lateness is greatness, Jay. Big up. Big up. Appreciate that. Big up, Woodsy. Ken T says, I think Elise just agreed. Yep. That's what I saw. It was 5 hours ago? 6 hours ago now. So, he ain't going nowhere. No, he ain't going here. That's what I meant to say. We ain't getting him. Tyler Barella. Ciao, everyone. Hopefully we get some solid transfer news soon. Hey, I'm waiting at the door. Wait, what was the story of that dog? Chewy, remind me. There's a story of the dog, and he waited at a train station for years and years, and his owner never showed. I think he got killed in World War II or something like that, and then the dog just died at the train station, I think. I think he just died or something. Someone will help me out in the chat. Adam Phillip, pay the release ASAP. What? We're waiting for the window to open, I believe. So Adam Phillip, I believe. But you know what? We need to go ahead and get it done. I think I can jump here from work. Oh, they know. Send me a link if you feel. Oh. Hang on one second. I just got a cheeky text. Boom. There you go. I know we're going to haggle and we're going to be like, hey, you want 50 mil? Just pay the damn money. That's my opinion. I've always said, just pay the damn money. I'm an impatient person as well. I do not like to wait for things. So I'm very much a, come on now, will you please? And speaking of come on now, we've got, I believe this is his debut on the channel. He is an American. I think I mentioned this in a previous stream that we're going to have a debut. I'm going to wait for him to give me the thumbs up and the all good. Big up Paul Brown. Good to see you in the house, my friend. Sunshine Coast, Queensland. That is not Wollongong. I think Wollongong's the other side. I don't know. I don't know which one's the Sunshine Coast, I'll be honest. Hopefully staying in London, having Europa League. Good to go. Hopefully staying in London, having Europa League next season and the CAA agency connection. Hey, those are all good reasons. But to be honest, United are also going to have the same competition as us. And they've won 2 trophies in 18 months. So you know what? Rather than just hearing it from me, let's see if we can hear it from another person. Let's bring on Believe debut to the channel.
Yo,
we've got Nick. Lazy, look at that. He's in the. Hey, you were in the production studio, my friend. You're looking nice. It's been a while since I've stepped foot in one of those. You know what my favorite part is, aside from all the fun technology and buttons to push, is the fact that the AC is always on a beautiful temperature.
You're damn straight, man. It's freezing up in here, man. It's like
that's what I love.
It's like 85 degrees outside right now, but it's fucking 55 degrees in here right now. Man. You got to bring a sweater to work in August.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and swap it that way so we can get the full effect. We can see the whole soundboard. That's very nice.
Yeah, man. I'm on missile watching.
How are you doing?
I'm chilling, man. I'm excited to hear that there's movement going on in the transfer market, man. But you know what? My heart's been broken before. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, this ain't the first time we've been down this dusty road, so to speak.
Man, I'm worried about this Eze thing, man. And I've been banging on the Eze drum for a while now, man. And I think he solves a lot of problems. I think Olise would probably be the smarter move right now for what we're lacking right now. But I think Eze, Maddison, I like Maddison, but he's not the answer, and we need somebody in there picking up the slack when he's not handling it, man. But
I think Maddison is just, we're trying to make him the hamburger patty when in reality he might be the lettuce or the pickles. You know what I mean? He's not the entirety of the burger.
Right.
And when you try and make the pickles or the lettuce the main caboodle there in the dish, I know this is kind of a weird metaphor. I literally just thought of it, so you're welcome. That's how my mind works. You mentioned
kind of food metaphor.
You know what? It's close to dinner time, admittedly, so that must be it. Without continuing to think about too much food, I agree. I don't think Maddison is necessarily like he can do it all. You can rely on him.
Well, he can't. We know that. We've seen it.
Yeah. Definitely. I got in the mud about it. I think I got way overhyped about him. Where were you at with him? Because for me, like I said, I was going around to rival channels. I was banging my chest saying Hodegaard. I was even talking down to Bruno Fernandes. Can we say that James Maddison is even better than Bruno Fernandes? They both cry to the ref equally as much, so
that's a stretch. I mean, like Maddison is certainly a whiner, but Fernandes is on a different level right there, man. He's like, his face is more punchable. I'll give him that. I would take my 8-year-old, when she stubs her toe and wants a stuffy. over Bruno Fernandes any day, and that's some whining right there, man. As far as where I was on Maddison, man, I got to admit to being flip-flopping for a while. Because when we were first linked to him like a couple of seasons ago at the end, we're at the beginning of Conte, where, you know, I was like, listen, he goes missing for Leicester all the time. You know, he's really good. He looks slick and he looks saucy, but half the season he's not there either because of injury or he just goes off the boil. But then we got so desperate for creative output in the Conte years that I was like, listen, he's the answer, man. I was calling him a pound shop Beckham for a while, you know, way back in there. You know, I didn't want it. I was like, no way. And then I completely flipped. I was like, we got to get this guy in because I don't think that there's anybody realistically that we could get right now that has his quality that we need in the team right now. Breaking the lines, finding the through ball, able to dribble in tight spaces. He does have all that, but, you know, it's just it's only been effective 50% of the time when he's been on the pitch this year. We need somebody else who is as effective there with a little bit of different skill set, but is as effective just to at least, you know, give him the competition, because I don't think that he's ever really had that, or at least he did have it at Leicester. He didn't have somebody else in there with as much stature as him that could fight for that place, man. You know?
Yeah. And I when you said 50%, I honestly feel like that's an overestimation on the number sense. That's being generous and kind to the Maddison legacy. And, you know, I talked about this on the last show that I think him getting left off the Euro squad or whatever, I think that he has to use this as an opportunity to show whoever's going to be managing, Southgate, maybe it'll be Ten Hag, who knows, whoever the England manager is in 2 years, that he deserves to be on that roster for the World Cup. And I think that for me, that's either means we're going to get the best out of him in these coming years, or we're going to see just kind of like a whiny little child. I really feel like I didn't like the amount of times he gets a little bit of contact, he goes over, and admittedly he does get fouled.
He does get targeted. They
do target him, but
he's
that's
one
part
of
of
those
being
players.
the man.
Yeah,
part
true.
Of being the burger.
True. The thing though is as you get older, as we've noticed, I did the same thing with Richarlison, but you know, you go even further with players like Neymar. When they're younger, they can take it. You know, their bodies are a bit more rubber and resilient. But you start picking up really heavy injuries, and it subconsciously gets into your head. You know, and you're like, damn. You know, even in a split second, you're thinking, am I going to miss another 3 months because I'm trying to juke this player this way, and is he going to take my ankles out? You know, that shit affects you, man. It affects, you know, how you think about the game as a whole and just in that moment.
And I also think that, too, the things that we loved about, I love this comment, I agree with Bonnie that no one was knocking him those first 10 games was giving me the ammunition to go around and talk all this shit. But I've really felt like this is a guy who convinced me to invest all my savings into Bitcoin and it lost me a bunch of money. And I feel like that's what happened. But he does still have quality. And to your point, I think that those things that he was doing so well in the first 9 or 10 matches it was before he got hurt, the things he was doing in those moments, for me, he started to attempt them when he came back, but they just were unsuccessful. Those incisive passes breaking the lines, he would do the outside of the boot trying to curl it around. I'm sorry, apparently only Son can do that in our team, with those outside of the boot curling on, you know, those little I don't know what you call them, those skimmers that curve with it. I don't know what
with
they're
the cross,
called,
a little angled cross with a little whip on it.
Slide across the grass when they curve, and that when you hit them with the outside of the boot. For me, you know, when you attempt that so many times and it has stopped working, maybe you got to present some other options. I just feel like he can't be the only guy we rely on. I think if you get an Eze in, you get a Tony in, these are the two names that I'll keep bringing out because I feel like they're realistically able to grab. We could spend $100 million potentially and get both of them. So to me, it's a no-brainer. we have to get to an attack. And what worries me is some of the things coming out saying, oh, we're only going to get one more. Tottenham only looking at one more attacker. And that does not sound good, because the whole thing with the Timo fucking Werner deal, Nick, was, oh, don't worry. He's so far away from the 11. We'll just, wave at him on the bench. But one more attacker sounds like Timo's very close to the starting 11, and a little bit too close for comfort, because for me, Brennan Johnson can't be in our starting 11. Kulusevski as a winger is questionable. I don't want him starting in our 11. I need so I have big question marks. And I've heard Richarlison thrown around, but I'll be so honest. Tony is such a better striker, in my opinion, than Richarlison, for the sheer fact that he can receive the ball at the top of the box with his back to the goal, and he can half turn and generate power on the shot. I've not seen Richarlison do that once in his career. So
I've seen him try it a couple of times, actually. It usually goes wide. It usually goes wide in the mark.
Or when he puts it on target, it's right at the keeper. Or if he happens to shoot it on target, not directly at the keeper, it has the speed of my son walking. And he,
Yeah, it's lacking something right there, man. Too, man. Listen, I
like a striker, Santiago Jimenez. He can do that too. Yeah, I know. I'm just kind of rambling on a little bit, but it all ties back into Maddison and like the players that we can bring in to help alleviate some of the pressure. Like Tony, for instance, I brought him up for a reason as well. He, other than the half turn thing at the box, I think as a striker would take some of the pressure off Son and make Son's job easier, which is why we saw him excel so much when he had a striker like Harry Kane, who is generous with the ball, who will share the sugar. And to me, Tony has really made Mbeumo, Johan Vissa, made them look even better. There was another guy that they had cooking. Oh, I can't even remember his name.
Winger?
Yeah, I think it was right wing.
Something with a co sound at the end, something like that.
Yeah,
I know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about, though. But yeah, he was working well with Tony, man.
That's what I think. For me, I want in a striker is a guy who can receive the ball back to goal, half turn, bang it, and can distribute the ball, help link up play, and get our wingers involved. And that's what Son did as a striker, was get the wingers involved, but he was just also not a physical presence.
Ball
enough.
Retention, man. One thing you didn't mention that is Wissa. Thank you, Phil Coys. Oh, I was thinking Wissa. I was thinking the other guy, Wissa.
I had mentioned you on Vissa.
You mentioned Wissa?
So,
gotcha.
I'll take Vissa. I'll take Mbeumo, but I think that Tony made them look better than they really are, because I mean, when you have a competent striker that pulls attention, generally that makes the spaces around that pretty open and free, and that can allow talent like Son to shine. And for me, like Son could do that in a sense, pull the attention, draw the people into the middle, and then leave space for Timo and Brennan Johnson. But at the end of the day, when it's Timo trying to hit the back post and Kulusevski can't get there because he lacks the pace, or Brennan Johnson simply, is in front of goal, wide open net and skies it, that's just lack of quality. If it's Son can tap it in easier than Werner. I think Son. I also look back at the Newcastle game. I'm just going to pull up a random instance that popped in my head. Newcastle game, 6 minutes, 40 some seconds in, 0-0, Newcastle away. Remember, we get.
Do we have to remember this, man? Yes.
Yeah. This is very.
Bring me back?
Only the first 7 minutes. Only the first. This is the crucial part, because this is a sticking point for me. If we had quality in these positions, certain scenarios last season don't happen. We don't get pumped 4-0 at Newcastle. At least we maybe make a game out of it.
Oh, because absolutely correct.
To me, 6 minutes, 40-some seconds in, there's a cross. I believe it's Sarr or Brennan Johnson. I don't remember who. Someone crosses the ball in from the right-hand side of our pitch. And it sails over the top, and Timo Werner does his best Zlatan Ibrahimovic impression, and he tries to hit it on the volley. And to me, there was no one near him. You could have just controlled it and then shot it. You could have controlled it and laid it off to Son, who also had oodles of space, who is a far superior finisher in the box. Instead, he says, "I'm going for the glory," and he fucking boots it to high hell. And when he did that, 2 minutes later, Isak on the counter, blam. We get caught, or I think it was 4 minutes later, something like that. Isak on the counter, and then Gordon. And once that started happening, then you saw Mickey Van. But again, that's all in regards to that specific game. But my point being, if at six, and that's not the first time, and it's not just Timo. It's been Brendan Johnson too. In the first 5 minutes of a game, getting a clear opportunity to go up 1-0, but he just can't fucking shoot the ball. And that's what really upsets me. I want players. James Maddison at the right wing. We were talking about him, in the central position. What would you think if we got Tony and Eze, and those were our only two attacking options? I've thrown out. What about Maddison at the right wing? That's where.
And you're playing Maddison. I think that's was he cooking though?
When they had one. So they had one striker. I would have to look up the numbers. I need to do some better research on this, but to my remembrance, they had one striker, and he was the right wing at one point, and that's when he was getting a bunch of assists and goals. And then I think their striker got hurt, or one of their strikers came back. I can't remember what it was, and they went to two strikers, and then they moved him into the 10, and then that's when he did basically what he did for us. 5 good games, I think it was. Then he fell off and was never good at it again. And it's like, so he's done both. Is James Maddison a better right winger than Brennan Johnson or Kulusevski? Or do you put Son out on the right and put Eze at the left and keep Maddison at the 10? I don't know. I just don't want Maddison dropping into a left back position to pick up the ball.
Yeah. Because it's wasting. I think that you're doing the same thing by trying to move him out to the wings on a regular basis. Like, we should be getting a specialist there. We've got wingers that we're trying to fit and do things that they clearly are not capable of, at least yet. Let's not try to do that with number 10 that we spend a shitload of money for him to play number 10. We should be solving that problem, in a different way. I mean, listen, if we got to do it and we got to move him out there, I don't really have a problem. But, I think we need to solve the winger problem as a winger problem. And you got a couple of things to unpack right there. You got the Tony issue, you got the Eze issue, but you also got this. Listen, I respect Fabrizio Romano as much as the next person, but the man does not have a direct channel to God. Okay. He's being fed as much bullshit as he is regular info. And if I look back the last couple of years, I'm saying Don P is feeding them info. You know what? We're only getting one more forward. Because everybody and the grandmother knows. Right. Everybody and the grandmother knows that we've got some money, and that we're looking for people and players in certain positions.
We're the FFP champions, Nick.
Why would we say we're not getting anybody in any position in the middle of June when there's a whole fucking international tournament series going on around the world, multiple Copa America, Euros, you name it. There's shit going on. Shit isn't even going to be settled for the majority of the transfers until for another 6 weeks plus. It's when everything's these international tournaments, it goes further and further to the deadline day. We got months and months before these decisions are going to be made, and this is how Paratici likes it. He wants the shit to die down a little bit, especially during the Euros, so the prices start to fluctuate more. And I don't think we're getting Eze in before these Euros start. We need to get that deal done before the Euros start, but that's 72 hours from now, basically. And that ain't happening.
He cooks in the Euros. I'm also worried about Mickey Van de Veen getting a shot in the Euros, and he's going to ball too hard, and someone's going to come try and drop 100.
That's going to happen.
And then we're going to sell him, but we're building something so beautiful, and I know people are going to come pick their pieces apart, because when you got left back like Destiny, you got a center back like Mickey Van de Veen. Honestly, only good things are happening right now. So I want it to continue, but if it's Timo and one other attacker, I fear for our attack, because even Ainge said we need to reassess everything in every position, because it just wasn't good enough attacking wise, and we are uncreative. And I think Eze at least opens up. Where do you see Eze fitting in? If we were to get him in, like, where do you ideally see him as a 10? I
see him specifically as a 10, man. I see him as competition for Maddison in that 10 role, and the ability to mix them around as the both of them in different attacking positions when we need them, because there's times there when we have to break that inverted horseshoe of defense and we start playing the horseshoe around it, that we need more than just Maddison as the creative outlet. We need a couple of people out there that may be able to come up with ideas rather than try to wing a terrible cross in and let the fucking goalkeeper catch it, you know?
Yeah.
That's all we've been doing over the last, especially at the end. And that's why I'm saying that Maddison went even flatter after he came back after the injury. After the first 10 games, then defenses, especially the lower table defenses, started to figure out, all right, you know what? We're just going to sit back and stay very compact for the whole game because they really know a way to break through. I think that will develop, and that's Ange's job to figure out the right players and a way to get through that. But when Maddison came back from that injury, it was stifling, man, because people were just like, no, we're just going to block off your channels. We're going to make things way too hard to jiggle around, man.
I agree. And real quick, let me say big up to Dermatron from THFC Till I Die. Member for 11 months, almost hitting that 12-month, that 1-year celebration. I believe that effectively makes you, I mean, that's almost as long as we've had memberships. I think it is as long as I've had
That makes you an OG, right?
I know Ben Kaufman is the longest. I believe that would put you number 2. I'm going to actually look it up at some point. But Dermatron, that is a long sustained period of being a member of this channel. So first of all, big up to you. I hope you're doing well. I hope your family's doing well. I hope you're well. I know you're taking, you weren't streaming lately, so I hope everything's good with you, brother. And let me see. I think I go see members, total time as member. Okay, so you're 1, 2, 3, 4. You're 5th, Dermot, in the long-standing in the members at 11 months. Yeah, Wayne Bonner's at 12 months. Tot Spurs is at 12 months. Tom Markkinen is at 12. I haven't seen Tom Markkinen in the chat in forever, but Tom Markkinen still. Hopefully, Tom Markkinen ain't just getting billed and is like, "What the fuck is this?" But big up Tom Markkinen, 12 months, and Ben Kaufman at 13 months. So Ben Kaufman's ahead of everyone by at least 1 month. But big up Dermot, bro. Top 5.
You'll find out Ben Kaufman is the original OG on a lot of channels, man. He's
a big time supporter, and so are you, Dermot. That's my point in saying that. So big up everybody, and those of you who've been supporting. Catman Jess at 10 months. That's a long time. I mean, 10 months. Terry Windows doesn't comment either at 10 months. But big up Terry Windows. You know,
that's all right. That's what we call lurkers, man. They're there.
Big up. You know? Hey, but they're supporting, lurking, and they're, you know what I mean? It's like the people that don't interact with the street performer. I'm on the internet street performing, and they just walk by, drop something in the hat, and they keep on and listening to the music. So ain't that sweet? Dermot says I short of the Champions League. Jacob took a time off. Back tomorrow on THFC Till I Die. Big up Dermot. Good to see you back. Good to see you, Danny Kiriakou, as well. Good to see you. Says big up lads. Good to see you, Nick. Or nice to see you, Nick. He says big up Danny. Big up Hyper Protagonist as well. Chat Sport. I see y'all in the chat saying hello. I disagree, Ryman son. Ainge is not bang average. Definitely not bang average. I don't think you win a treble if you're bang average. I know it was in Scotland, but in Scotland. It's Scotland, right? Celtics are in Scotland.
It's a Scottish league. Listen, man, he's come out with the goods in every vertical move that he's made. You know? So there's no reason to expect that he can't achieve in this league as well, where he has the right tools, man. You know? But people have their opinions.
Hey, what is your take on Ainge's tactics? Because Rich is not alone, but Rich obviously thinks the opposite of what I think in this regard. I don't think Ainge has awful tactics. I think we have awful player playing tactics to which they don't completely understand and can physically do. And that's as simple as it is for me. I can't continue to go on and say it's the manager's tactics fault. Jose Mourinho, everyone shitted on his tactics. He got us to a damn cup final. And I enjoyed every moment getting up there. You know what I mean? Like, that's the part of it is at the end of the day, you win a trophy. This comment means nothing. You win a trophy. Like, What do you think of Ainge's tactics?
I think that the worst thing that he did so far since he took the job was say that I don't change. This is how we play. Because it's you have to live up to that statement in a way into to the fans and to the press, because they're going to use it against you. And it's clear that he doesn't really like to play that game. But the whole "we'll never stop" thing, it's clear that he does tweak, and he does it with changes and subs. But there's also, he went to the false nine to experiment with it a little bit at the end of the season. He's not just tactically rigid. And if you're saying because of his awful tactics, I know it's a chat and
There's at least 4 different times I could see the adaptability thing and the not changing. I feel like that's his narrative. It's just the easy go-to bullet point to show that you don't like something, in my opinion, because I feel like it's the same thing with Romero. You say he's dirty and this and that, and I feel like that's just an easy way to label a guy. In my opinion, I think it just couldn't be further from the truth. Like,
well, I
know y'all got your opinions. Like Ryman's son says, bang average and a fraud. He may be a Levy sock puppet. That may be true. Hey, who's not a fucking sock puppet? Ryman's son, I guarantee if your boss says do this or say this, you say yes, sir. That's how it works when you're
just about
somewhere.
Everybody's a sock puppet for the first 18 months, man. For the first 18 months in the job.
He just walks in the door. That's what I'm saying. And also says Ainge signings are bang average. Which signing? There's only one signing that I can critique Ainge for right now, and that's Brennan Johnson. He put his neck out on the line and said, "I wanted him." When you say "I wanted him" like that, that's really tying a player to your name, and that is one I'm critical of. But outside of that, Timo Werner, I don't think is an Ainge signing. That sounds like Johan Lange. That sounds like Scott Munn, Paratici, and the board saying we need an attacker. Here's one that we can get without spending $1 million on right now, and we don't have to, and we can get it done right now. And to me, as much as I disagree with the Timo Werner signing, like I don't hold that to Ainge. I don't know. But what do you think about this second part? People saying he had this hidden eye in obscure markets that he's coached in that we haven't.
Hidden eye in obscure markets.
I don't know when Ainge promised this though. I feel like this is kind of weird to say that Ainge promised something.
And he did. He said, I missed an article on that, man. Yeah,
he never did.
That he was pulling things out of. Yeah. That's like all of a sudden
he could do that. Yeah.
Right. We're going to pull out gems out of the J League, which listen, there's a lot of good players in there, but it's a shallow market, man. There's not that many, and I don't remember him ever saying, "Oh, I'm going to bring these players out of freaking the Australian League and all that crap." No, I mean, that's not his job. That's the job of the recruitment staff in there. And all he said is nobody's coming in that I don't approve. And I don't hear a lot of people complaining about Van de Ven. I don't hear a lot of people complaining about Vicario. I mean, some people are, but I don't. Destiny. But he Destiny technically was in the club before Ange got here.
Yeah. But I mean, it still ties into my point of the whole recruitment process has completely changed since Ainge was here and while we were transitioning away from Conte. That all was changing. And there were people here like Paratici and Scott Munn, to my knowledge. Was Scott Munn here before Ainge? Because I believe he was. He came in at the tail end of Conte, didn't he?
I think so. I think you're right. I think in that shift over at the end of last season is what. Wait a minute, wasn't Scott Munn the whole thing where we had to wait like a year for his contract to be done with City? Was that Scott Munn? Yeah, that was Scott Munn, right?
Yeah.
He worked as part of the City group in Australia and other places, and we had to wait for him. He was technically working at the club for like a year and a half before he even
actually started.
This
is the part for me that gives me a little bit of hope in this sense. Like, yes, Paratici was here when we did the Brian Heel deal, and that pisses me off. I've hated that deal since we did it, and there's personal agenda attached to it because we should have got Adama Traore. We were linked. We should have. We did all the things. But anyway, besides the point, the recruitment at Tottenham for me has changed before he got here and while he's been here, and we are still settling into what that looks like. And Timo Werner signing for me is what that looks like. The club bringing it forward. And if you want to be upset with Ainge for saying sure, for saying yes to pizza for dinner when you felt like he should have had spaghetti rather than pizza, then I hear that. I can understand why you might feel that way. But to be like, oh, Ainge recruitment, or I was promised this by Ainge, or he was supposed to unearth. I love that comment from Ren. He managed in the A-League, and he also managed the Australian national team. We don't have any good players in the A-League. I would also say this. If those good, these transformative players that he recruited at Celtic were the bee's knees, surely they wouldn't still be at Celtic, right?
Yeah, well, listen, I mean, yeah, and I think some of them have been poached as far as I remember since he's left Celtic. You know, I can't wait until this next season is over and we can get beyond the J League and the Scottish League narrative, man, because it's tired. Yeah,
I agree with that.
I'll tell you on the Eze thing, man, there's a lot of things that worry me, and Levy dragging his feet is the biggest one. If United are really in for him, will they make it difficult? I mean, he's in the same agency as most of our players. He's out on the piss with Son. I guess Son doesn't really go out on the piss, right? But he's out
they're at a
moving
Burberry fashion event.
Yeah,
that's
a
hoity-toity.
Going out on the piss is you're dabbing pints and shit. And I don't think Sonny really does that. But
Sonny's definition of going out on the piss, I would say that they've done that. Which is probably going out and having a soda. He probably doesn't even drink soda.
Playing hacky sack and yeah. But in Burberry, using a Burberry hacky sack. Yeah, but Fifth Elemento, I don't think he would. But there's things that are making me nervous about it, you know? And the whole, coming full circle with the Ndombele thing, like it's the worst thing that could have happened to our club with the way our recruitment has been structured over the last few seasons, because Levy opened up his purse. He was clearly involved with that with his lackey. And we got burned as bad as anybody's been burned ever. You know, any club on any deal has been burned. So big up for not smart.
No, it's a running gag that like.
Is it? I've missed some episodes
because
the last couple weeks.
I got a lot of shit this year when shit wouldn't be going well, and they come to my channel and someone said, "Oh, what an embarrassment," because me and Kuva dared share a laugh after we're doing a 2-hour show. And hi, mama. Okay, hi, baby girl. Special delivery. Say thank you, Uncle Nick, for all the gifts. She just woke up. She's like,
oh, what's this sweet?
What was I talking about? There was a good point that I was about to make.
Man, you just derailed me completely. You bring him in a baby. That's why in showbiz they say never do a show with kids or dogs, man. You'll lose the audience to them.
And I got both.
Yeah.
I got the dog right there.
You're starting from a losing position right there.
Yeah. The not smiling thing is because Kuva and I, after a match, I saw the big up Nick for not smiling. It reminded me. Is Kuva and I, after a match or something bad happened, and we were just like, we're generally pretty happy people, so we just kind of were chatting about this or that, and someone came in and was like, "What's wrong with you two? This is exactly why Tottenham never win anything, because fans like you two are having a fucking party after a loss." And I think it was after like one of those 4-0 losses we had where it was an ass whooping and we didn't play good at all. And it's like, I can't be miserable for 2 hours on a show, especially when I'm talking to someone like Kuva.
No, what's the point of doing that? We're on YouTube to have a little fun, to talk about Spurs, be serious sometimes, but really, it's supposed to be fun.
Hotspur Hippie was on Sean Butler's show, and he was smiling and laughing at something, and they were like, they told him, "Paul, you can't smile, laugh, it's triggering the panel, and it was very funny. I was laughing my
It's triggering the panel.
That Paul's smiling face and laughing was triggering the panel. I lost my shit. I remember the show happened at like 5 a.m. my time, so I wasn't up, and I was watching it for my morning coffee, and I actually like went because I was like, they really told Paul no smiling and no laughing because they were having a debate, I guess. And to me, it's just weird if you can't have a debate. Oh, debate, but don't you fucking smile.
No, you better not. You better have respect for how bad we are. Respect. Listen, you laugh to keep from crying, man. It's one of the oldest sayings. You laugh to keep from crying.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you can't laugh as a Spurs fan, man, you're going to need a lot of medication.
My wife just turned the lights off in here. That's my medication, my family. And that's what I've always said on this channel is like, I'm going to come up here. I'm going to do my bitching and my moaning. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to do a show that's overall like trying to make everyone feel as miserable as Tottenham makes me feel. It is our duty as Tottenham fans to take the punches that Tottenham inevitably will give us every season, and we get up and we go again. Like at some point, if I felt so miserable about Tottenham, I just wouldn't fucking support them. It's that simple. And my wife always says that too. Like, why are you watching?
Why do you
They're
do
just
this?
making you mad? Yeah. She's like,
my wife does the same
clearly
thing.
things aren't going well. I hear you yelling, and it's like, why do you do this to yourself? Why do you? And it's like, because I fucking love this club. The ups, the downs, it's part of the fucking journey to me. But there is the part where I come to and I say, I need a fucking trophy, though. I need me a trophy. We were so close with that Carabao Cup, and then we sacked Jose Mourinho. And to me, that is abysmal. And I'm still not over it. I'm still not over the Champions League final. We are so close, but Moussa Sissoko's armpit is the difference maker. To me, we have been scorned, but at some point it's going to change. Like when you play roulette, it's only going to hit red so many times before it lands on black. You know what I'm saying? And so that's how I've always approached my supporting of Tottenham anyway, is like, we're going to keep spinning this thing and eventually it's going to, and you know, maybe this is the bad way to do it because I've never been a successful gambler. I've never gone into a casino and gotten up on the roulette, but I've always just red or black. It's just very simple. It's going to land on one or the other, maybe that one green one every now and then, but it's got to land on the antithesis sometimes. So at some point I have to believe that something is going to change. And fundamentally, I've seen changes in the club structurally, like how we adapt our first team. And now even still, we just got a new guy to be the head of academy recruitment, Jack Chapman, which I don't know about him, but I did bookmark something from, what's his name? Oh, this is a fun poll. Back in this is a throwback poll. Who would you rather have, Brian Hill or Mbappe? It was a Tottenham Hotspur poll. 74% said Brian Hill. It's fucking madness. Where was it? It was some Alistair Gold piece. Yeah, a little look into Chris Davies' appointment at Birmingham. Could really open an important pathway for Spurs. That him going there is going to be a place for us to loan these kids off.
Yeah, which is very important right now, man. I think that's great, man. If, you know, a couple people like Mikey Moore or Donnelly, I don't think Mikey Moore, try to bring him into the first team right now is the wrong move, man. You got to develop that talent. You know, and kid gloves. You know, treat them with kid gloves and wrap them in bubble wrap if you can. You know what? That brings up one thing, man, that nobody's been talking about with the academy train thing. I don't hear anybody talking about Dane Scarlett at all as him being brought into the first team to play
2 goals
backup
in 2 games.
I'll
be real honest. This may be controversial, Nick. I'd prefer Troy Parrott at this point over Dane Scarlett.
Well, that's the thing.
When Dane Scarlett goes somewhere and scores 20 goals, then I'll say give him a chance. I've just been very unimpressed. The chances he does get, I'm just like,
here's the problem, though. I think it's got to be one of them. One of them's got to be brought into the first team to stick around for Europe, just to fill in that number and to be there as a backup if we need him. Who's it going to be, Parrott or Scarlett? Well, the thing with Parrott is his value is the highest it's ever been right now.
Yeah.
And if you want to actually make some movement and gain something in these player sales, which we really need to do, probably the best thing to do, in my opinion, is to get some money off of him, put in some clauses in there, put in a buyback, put in a sell on, and try to maximize what you can. With Parrott, I don't think another loan spell is going to work for him. I think maybe he needs to be around the club that's his home. He needs a little time. He needs some European games, and he needs to learn Ange's system. I haven't hated him when he's been on the pitch for Ange at all. I think he's been doing what he's been asked, and the delivery's been what's that? Yeah, Dano.
You're talking about Dane. Okay.
Yeah. Which is, in the last fucking 10, 15 minutes, he's been holding up the ball, and he's been looking for his chances, and chances haven't really come.
He's got a powerful shot, and that's something I've noticed about him when we first saw him, I think under Jose. Jose gave him a chance, I believe, in Europa, was it? And that, I think I seen him, he didn't score nothing, but I seen him get some shots off, and I said, okay, there's a little boot in that kid. And you would assume that it continues to grow as he grows. But, I kind of agree with this comment. I feel like Parrott is now a man and Scarlett is not yet a man. There's a song, I think it was Britney Spears, says, I'm not a girl, but not yet a woman. Somewhere in between that adolescence and the full-grown state. I feel like Dane Scarlett is stuck in that purgatory. He's
stuck in the tweens.
He's not a boy, but he's not yet a man. He's in that weird, like, I'm going to get my own apartment and just order pizza every night phase. Like, I feel like that's where he's at, and we need to see him take that step. But to me, what worries me about Dane specifically is if you just look at his body of work and the loan spells, Ipswich sent him back, and they got promoted. So it's clearly the fucking right choice for Ipswich to say, no, thank you. We're going to stick with whoever we stuck with. I didn't watch a bunch of Ipswich after Scarlett got sent back. So to me, they did something right. They got second place. They didn't even fuck with the playoffs. You know what I mean? So they did something right in that sense. So that's one loan that's bad for him. While at the same time, what's his name? Troy Parrott bags back-to-back hat tricks, thus making his GA look similar to that of a target we've heard, Santiago Jimenez, in the same league. And while I would rather Santiago Jimenez over Troy Parrott, my point being, if you compare the two, like, one has gone on loans and the place is like, we like him, but we can't buy him. And the other one, it's like with Portsmouth, he started out, I think he had 2 goals in 2 games. And then after game week 10,
it fizzled out.
They stopped even playing him. There's something going on that's not working. If it's not working at fucking Portsmouth, it's not working at Ipswich. Why would it work at Tottenham?
Yeah, we've never really got an answer. I think he got an injury at Portsmouth too, but then he never got back into the team too. But we've never really had an answer as to why it didn't really work out there. Here's the thing, though. You want a quality proven striker, though, too, don't you? You want somebody else other than Richarlison up front, like a Tony or somebody else that we are going to spend some money for, and we're pretty damn sure is going to do the business. So if that's the case, what are you going to do? What are you doing with Parrott? Are you bringing him in as second fiddle? Are you selling Richie and just keeping Parrott and just having Tony with a backup of Parrott, Tony or whoever it is? I think you're stifling Parrott in his level where he is right now if you're doing that.
Yeah.
Whereas Dane...
Sorry to cut you off there.
Nah, that's all right. People do it all the time.
I could tell you're used to it. You're just not even phased. You know what I mean? Like if someone's driving the car and they're just like, whatever. It's like, oh, that person drives a lot.
Cut me off in New York.
In a perfect world, I'm getting Tony and Jimenez, and Richarlison's gone, Parrott's gone, Scarlett's gone. For me, I don't know how old they are, but I feel like they're old enough, damn it. If Garnacho could start for Man United at 18, why can't they? There's clearly something wrong. Mikey Moore is the only one that looks like maybe at 17 he could do something with the first team. Whereas before that, it was like, I heard Alfie Devine was supposed to be. Alfie Devine's 21.
Right,
Dave Scarlett's right around 20-something. Bro, if you're hitting over 20... it's like, this is where you either start cooking at your loan club or you become Marcus Edwards. Like Noni Madueke, he left our academy, went to PSV, cooked, got a big deal with Chelsea, relatively big deal with Chelsea. Is he the level that Chelsea want? No. So like to me, there's clearly been something wrong with the pathway of our academy to our first team, and it's obvious and it's been stated the changes that are coming to that, from this new regime, whatever. But in regards to Scarlett, Parrott, to me, they're both over 20 some years old, and I've been unimpressed with both. But if I have to keep one, I'm keeping Parrott over Scarlett, because he at least went and put over 20 goals in another league, albeit, again, he only broke that threshold because of the 2 hat tricks on the last 2 match days, which do inflate your stats, by the way. But
certainly,
again,
yeah.
20 plus goals in another league
Yeah.
is something Dane Scarlett has not done at any of his fucking loans. He
Yeah.
cooks for the U17s and nationally. He cooks for England, but at some point you got to be a young man who can ball against the big boys. And if you just ball against the kids your age and your size, or what does this tweet even say? Hang on, I have a different tab. For England Elite Squad. What the fuck is England Elite Squad? I don't know what that is. But I thought he was with like the U19s or U20s or some shit. But to me,
that's exactly what he is. It's the tween stage before you get to the actual men's top flight of the England team, but you're above the under 21s. That's where he is. He's in the elite squad.
So League One is what I'm hearing.
Something like that. So listen,
maybe
man.
we loan him to Wrexham.
On that though, Mr. Kiriakou, who is always coming in with the insider info, he's real. I like to call it a Kiriakou. When you go, listen, I know something, but I can't tell you how I know it. I can't tell you how I know it. I'm not going to tell you where it's from, but I know something, and here's what I know. He's saying we have to sell Richie to bring in another striker, meaning we're not getting Tony. Which
unless
I think,
Richie leaves, but
Richie leaves. Well, that just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. In our lack of goals, and the fact that we are desperate for goals since Harry Kane left. I didn't think I would be ever saying that, at least this soon. But we are desperate for goals, and we need another striker, man. I think the Tony thing is almost too easy for Levy to pass up.
Especially that this man is less than half of the price he was last summer.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think that the dealing with Brentford is a pain in everybody at Spurs' ass at this point, and we kind of don't want to do that. So that may stall the whole shit. And they're going to try to get more money than he's actually worth. They're still going to, dick around with that. But, I can't see us not going in for Tony. And I got my own issues with it. I think on paper, he's got the skills. He's good. But, like one conversation with Ange is not going to change somebody's personality. What if Ange goes, this goes a right dickhead, and he fucking says no, There's a lot of question marks about how that deal gets made, how that deal gets done.
That's a good point. And, in regards to what Danny's saying, and, he might be right. Time will tell. What he's saying doesn't sound out of the realm of what Tottenham would do. So it's like, but I'm okay. I say okay, not overly thrilled, not too disappointed. If we go the route of having Richie as our backup 9, he's shown that he can score goals when we make it really fucking easy for him. And we can do that when the system is cooking on all cylinders. So if we have an Ivan Toney who just needs a rest, or we need to rotate or something, or, 60 minutes, 70 minute, bring on a Richarlison and we just make it super easy, he can tap it in. I think he could do that. And he did that this year. He's done it for Everton, and that's how he gets his GA. Except for the 2 goals this year. And again, I'll go back. I'll give him credit where credit's due. When he played Everton, both of the goals he scored versus Everton were fantastic.
Were bangers.
They were things I've never seen him do before or since. And so I don't know that we can rely on him as a number 9. So, whether Danny's right or wrong is irrespective of how I feel about it. I can't rely on Richarlison as my number 9. My number 9. I know we gave him the number 9 shirt, but, he's not our number 9. He's not, again, I hate doing this, but I think it's necessary to do from time to time. just a litmus test. Who are we trying to catch? What is our goal? My goal, I want to, if we could, I want that fucking Premier League trophy. I dream about it. I think about its curvatures. I think about the shine, the handles, the ribbons of lily white hanging off of it. And it just sings the echoes of glory. And it's just like, open the pearly gates, Bill Nick, let us in. Because I feel it in my bones that I want a Premier League trophy. So I need that in my life. And we were close. And then we finished third. And then we've never been close again. And for me, I want to get back to where we like legitimately felt I can challenge for this league. I have a chance to win the, you know, I want to get there and then pick up a Carabao Cup. You know what I'm saying? A bottle of water along this journey in the desert will go very, very far. And I've felt in my bones as well that Ange Postecoglou could be the man to lead us from the desert of trophy drought into the wetter pastures of Greenland where trophies are just falling off of the rafters into our hands. Bro, think about this for perspective. Erik ten Hag has won 2 trophies in 2 seasons as manager. He just gets announced that he's staying today. They just announced tonight, midnight fucking UK. They're hoping everyone's asleep. And now all the Man United emergency pods are happening because it's confirmed Ten Hag is staying. And earlier today it was confirmed United are interested in Eze. So I think the 2 and 2 are going hand in hand. Ten Hag wants Eze. But look at the perspective of fan base. And I know we're not United's like historical stature or heritage. I get that. I understand it. But like, to me, we got to want something more than what we're at because this isn't it. We all know it. Why else at the end of every season we come off feeling like, man, that was not as good as I thought it could be or I wanted it to be. And it's very seldom we're like, oh, if we had just gotten lucky that one time, things would have been different. You don't sack Jose Mourinho that one time, maybe we do win that fucking trophy and a lot more people are happy. But for me, this long-winded wind-up, and I know there's Dane Scarlett right there, is distracting me from my actual point, but I want us to win a trophy. And if I want us to challenge for the Premier League with the chance and eventual motion of winning it. You know, that's what I want. I want to see us lift that trophy. And I want a Carabao Cup. I want an FA Cup along the way. I want Europa, any of that. So I look at the competition and all these things. An FA Cup, who just won it? Man United.
Man United.
They're going for our target. Who just won the Carabao Cup? Liverpool. They just sacked their manager, but no one's thinking that they're going to miss a beat. Liverpool fans are saying, oh, we're not going to miss a beat without Klopp. Aren't sluts going to come in here and slut it up? Check out my slot machine is what they're saying. But I fuck all them. Yeah, you know, I can't mention Arsenal because they didn't win shit, but it's irrespective of them. And I just look at City, and I don't say I want to be like City. I want to be better than City. I want to compete with City on all fronts. Does any of the conversations we've had put us in that conversation? Timo Werner does not. Dane Scarlett keep not. Troy Parrott keeper not.
No, but
Charlison does not. Brennan Johnson, Kulusevski. Maddison is a maybe. Maddison help us compete with United for sure, but not City. So
but
when I look at it,
and Tony,
Tony. Now we're talking about something. And then you get Vanderson as a backup, or even you know,
Ito.
a solid 4th option. Ito, a solid 4th option. You know, because there is going to be an instance where we don't have Romero or Van de Veen, and it's Dragusin and somebody else, and we need it to be an actual body, not just somebody. And you look at Pedro Porro, we don't have a backup for him. We don't have a backup for Destiny. And I don't just want a backup. This is obviously, I got shitted on in different chats when the price tag for Alphonso Davies was revealed. I've been a big admirer of Alphonso Davies. He played in MLS. That's when I first saw him with the Vancouver Whitecaps, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And was like, wow, this guy's something. And then he went into Bayern, and it was like, wow, and he's cooked. And to me, I feel like he has put the standard of that's what the left back in the world lives up to. And Theo Hernandez has been there with him as well, as far as left backs in the world. And then I started thinking, well, what else is there outside of them two? Then you start getting into the tier, I think, Destiny Udogis. So who else is even in that tier that we could get? Anthony Robinson, I've heard, oh, he's not an inverted fullback. He's more the overlapper. And I don't really give a shit. He's a professional athlete. I've seen him invert. I've seen him overlap for the U.S. men's team. So he can do both. It's not a foreign thing to ask a player to do something else than they're used to. Look at Dragusin. He's used to playing on the right side of the pitch. He's playing left-sided center back. You know, these are the things like Ainge wants players to be able. That's what he's always said about the midfield. I need a guy who's not a 6. I don't need an 8. I don't need a 10. I need a guy who can do all 3. And that's what he wants. And so it's like, again, I'm convoluting a few points here, but the level of players that we've gotten recently give me the hope, and the level of players we've been linked with, some of them keep that hope alive. Like Eze keeps that hope alive. Timo Werner was a punch in the gut, diminished the hopes, dimmed the light, so to speak. So,
well, you know, this the talk about, you know, our limited amount of attackers we're going to bring in is punching everybody in the gut. As much as whatever Romano says,
he's here too.
Valise is here too, yes, but
he's being
Romano
loaned.
and Danny Kiriakou as oracles of the transfer world aside, you know, I think it's a bunch of BS. And to bring up a term from 2 years ago, smokescreen. Paratici smokescreen. I think there's going to be a lot of movement, man. I think, especially at the end of the transfer window, there's going to be a lot of movement because it's clear we need a shift around in the forward line, you know, and I don't see anybody taking Richie right now, but I don't mind Richie staying. But we need another number 9 to go along with him, man. You know, but
he can't be our starting 9. That's the way I'm okay if he's the guy off the bench for now, you know, and maybe next summer we could sell him because we spent a big chunk of change on him, plain and simple. And return for investment, hell no. But, you know, I look at him and I don't see him. Would he come off of the bench for? They have fucking Julian Alvarez coming off the bench as their striker. You know what I mean? And he's talking about big money move. He wants Real Madrid. Chelsea were twerking for him. Everyone started twerking for him when they heard Julian Alvarez might be on the move. Everyone started twerking for him. And I agree. Like, I would have loved Julian Alvarez in an Ainge system. He would cook. He would do bits. But, like, what moves that we've had that make me feel like we can genuinely compete with City on the front, compete with Arsenal, Liverpool? These are the people who finished above us, even Aston Villa. I mean, I always say you can't spell Aston Villa without ass. But, you know,
true.
There we are. Look, I like this. We go drop 200 million. Tony as the 9, Eze as the 10, Bakayoko as the right winger, Emerson as the 6. I think Bakayoko as the right winger is still a gamble. I think that is still absolutely a gamble. But I would give him a chance to start in the Premier League over Brendan Johnson and Kulusevski as our right winger. I'll be real honest. Emerson is a 6. I think this is the Atalanta guy, not Emerson Royal.
Yeah.
Oh, he said Ederson. Yeah, I was like, wait, I think he means Ederson. But
yeah, Ederson. That is from Atlanta. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what Danny's saying is not making me feel any better about it, you know. But, you know, and just publicly stated that he wants his business done before preseason. I publicly state a lot of things about what I want to my family, and I rarely get that shit, you know. I publicly stated that I want an extra couple inches downstairs here. That's not going to happen either, you know. We don't always get exactly what we want.
Well, you know, those of the folks that have been upset with the lack of height on their stature, they now have like a knee replacement where they can like make your limbs grow a couple inches. So, you know, nothing's ever out of the realm of possibility. Big up Danny. What does he say here? Nick, unless we sell Richie or Parrott for a fee, I don't think we get a striker from what I've been told, which is so frustrating. Honestly, I think Ainge will go mad when he realized he's not getting what they plan on getting. And you know what I hope he does? Stays true to himself and walks away if that's the case.
I want to see what happens if that's the case. Yeah. If that's the case and things don't, if there isn't a definite progression seen within this transfer market, how he reacts to that. Yeah. We're so early into it, man. I'm still glass half full. What about this
the window's not open for another 4 days, I think.
Yeah, it's not even open. It's not even open yet. And we're already saying, we're already doom and gloom, man. What's up with
just think-
Bakayoko, man?
Johan Bakayoko from
Yeah.
PSV Eindhoven. I watched, okay, so not this past year, but the year prior, I watched a lot of PSV. And I remember, I was like, Nani Madueke is cooking in this league. I would like him back at Tottenham. We could probably get him back for 2030. He's homegrown. He counts as one of our own. The perfect deal. He goes to Chelsea, that's fine, for a bigger fee. But then Johan Bakayoko, the whole time that Nani Madueke was there, he still was his backup. But as soon as he left, it was like they were even better at the right side.
Yeah.
Because he left in the January window, I believe it was, Noni. And so that's when Johan, so I watched him start the last 6 months, and I was like, wow, this guy's fantastic. And it was last summer I was saying, give me Johan Bakayoko, Mohamed Kudus. They've been cooking in the Eredivisie. I want one of them too. I even watched Leverkusen the year before they did their historical thing this year. I watched them. And I was a big fan of Moussa Diaby and Jeremy Frimpong. There's actually a lot of players I'm a fan of on Leverkusen. Apparently, Jeremy Frimpong has like a 36 million release clause as well, which I would be absolutely picking that up 100% if I'm fucking in charge of Tottenham, because you want a guy that can genuinely compete with Pedro Porro for that position, that's your guy. It's the same thing when I brought up Alphonso Davies. 50 mil is what they want from Real Madrid. So 50 for Real Madrid and 60 for everyone else. 60 million, you bring in Alphonso Davies, genuinely competes with destiny for that left back position. And then just to me, like it is a little bit of a step, right? To get a player that is better in the position than a guy that we see our future at. But I need this competition. I want this competition. Again, I know this is stretching it, but Johan Bakayoko for me isn't that move like a Jeremy Frimpong or a Alphonso Davies or even, an Eze or Elise. I feel like Johan Bakayoko is like a Santiago Jimenez signing. There's a chance he comes in here and he absolutely cooks. And there's also a chance that he comes in here and he does not. And it takes him time, and then we do the whole, let's give him time. Let's give him time. The same thing we're saying for Brennan Johnson, who's played in the fucking Premier League. He doesn't need time. I gave him time. Brennan Johnson, the magnifying glass is on his fucking neck. Because he's now getting an off-season. And that was the last thing that I could excuse him for. He didn't get an off-season with Ainge. He was thrown in and was told to swim, and he's more or less just not drowned. And there you go. But again, with Johan Bakayoko, I feel like it is a gamble. There is a chance it's a good gamble. There's a chance it's a bad gamble, as with anything. But he has a little bit more hype in the sense that, like, the drop off could be substantial in that sense, because we could be expecting this guy to come in and cook. There was a comment I saw, I think it was Illmatic earlier, that said Johan Bakayoko would at least take on his man with the ball, and that is something I desperately need. Even Son, when he tried to take his man on with the ball, was very unsuccessful in the latter parts of the season, especially when he went out to left wing. The wingers, Timo Werner doesn't take his man on. He's a kick and run guy. Brennan Johnson is a kick and run guy. Kulusevski's a hold up the ball. I'm not going to outrun you.
Push his way through. Just, I'm going to elbow you.
And it's like we've
through.
got
Yeah.
too many. I don't know. I just have no hope in our winger and attacker situation. And if the truth is that we're really only getting one attacker, I hope what you're saying is true, Nick. That Paratici, he's doing that just to get them. Hey, you can't price gouge us because we only wanted one more attacker. Because what I heard when the fucking season ended day one was, we are trying to get job done early, ASAP. We got 6 preseason games. Preseason kicks off very soon. Ainge wants these guys in the door of day one that he can train. He wants them in the door, which is the opposite of how Tottenham work.
Right.
And it's like all the talk now is, oh, well, later in the window we'll do that. If we sell players, no. If we sell players, we contract terminated with Tanguy and fucking Dombele. That was 10.4 mil a year that we got him to agree to stop getting paid for, allegedly. It's still not official yet, but allegedly. So to me, if bro, fuck it. Take the punch on the chin. When you terminate a contract, you take on a fine. And to me, fuck a fine.
You're admitting mistake, and you have to just deal with the consequences. Yeah.
Giovanni Lo Celso, someone's gonna get him. Someone's gonna buy him.
He has value.
Emerson Royale, someone's gonna buy him. Højbjerg, someone's gonna buy him. Skip wants to go. He'll probably get loaned somewhere.
Brian Hill has suitors
he's
too.
looking for he can't wait for the sun to shine in Spain so he can play ball again.
It's up to the staff whose job it is to get those players out the door to do their job. But we all know at the end of the day, the man who writes the checks and gives the okays has to, he has to feel that he's won something. There is a route. There is a way to get these people out the door, man. Just to address a couple of these comments, Ilmatic with Ali Gold said Parrott will most likely be sold. We have to sell him while he's playing well. I completely agree, 100%. That's where I stand on it. And that's why I think it's really going to be Dane Scarlett is the one who sticks around and is in the first team. Last time we gave the manager what he asked for, guess what we got? And you are damn right about that. That is a scary, scary thought. But you also got to just, he
left off another name, Jack Clark.
Yeah,
Fernandez.
There's a couple other ones in there.
There's a couple left out.
Yeah. But remember what the recruitment team was all about then, and remember what we did with that manager right when those players came in. We said, adios, amigo.
Danny says, guys, question, how would you feel if we start the season with the same front three? I have a video that I could play that would tell you, and it's not the brother ew, because that's very predictable. That's the predictable video. This would be me at the beginning of the season if that's what we do.
Hassan, oh yeah! Hassan, oh yeah!
I'm not going to play the whole clip. It's like 30 seconds, but that part, Hassan, yeah. It's like a little whimper of like, that's how I feel. That little whimper, I'll play it again for you. Just listen for the little whimper. That's how I will feel going into this.
Hassan, oh yeah! Hassan, oh yeah! Hassan, oh yeah! We are the gunner.
That's the one I'm talking about.
So you know what, man? So if that's the case, if we do start with the exact same front line with no changes, and start is one thing, and the transfer window is another thing, because we can start and the transfers can still not be done yet. We know that happened with Johnson, etc.
But if we start the season,
it's going to start a chain of toxicity from the ground up. But Postecoglou is going to not be happy going into that season right there. It would be a giant mistake, a PR mistake, an internal dressing room mistake. I think the whole team knows that there's a lot of shakeups coming. They know that there's people out the door, people who've been there for a while, Højbjerg, etc. It's the right time to do it. I think I just don't see it, man. It wouldn't make. I know this is Spurs, and they will fuck with your head every time, but I just don't see it. I see some significant change has to come to the front line. And as much as we need the Monster Six, the Killer Six, whatever, it's there's a mentality shift that's proven by your actions within the boardroom. That is what is needed most to push us forward right now. I mean, you want to talk about players pushing us forward? Nah, man. It's it's a mentality, as Ange has seen, and we've all been talking about for years now. That has to start from the head, and it's how are you going to push us forward, and how are you going to show us that?
Yeah, I think pushing forward is the part that I'm hinging on the most. Like, even I was talking about yesterday, Giovanni Lo Celso. There's been a lot of people being like, "Oh, fuck you, Ainge, you didn't give him a chance." He been here for 6 years, and he just hit 100 appearances. Like just hit it. Emerson hit over 100 appearances, and he'd been here for 2 years. But Giovanni Lo Celso he cooks for Argentina, and then everyone says, "Oh, look at this player. How dare we not give him a chance?" He is a bum.
Something has been going wrong with him. Something has been going wrong with Lo Celso and the club since he came in. Basically, and I'll tell you when it happened. It was the Christmas COVID incident. Everything started to go downhill, and everything shifted, particularly with how Mourinho was seen at the club and in the dressing room when they had that gaffe where everybody showed up all the Spanish-speaking players of the club had a little party and broke COVID protocol, and Lo Celso got thrown under the bus. So did Reguilon at that point. And everything's been a little bit weird with Lo Celso, in my opinion, since then. You know, he hasn't felt comfortable. There's always been talk about him wanting to leave. He's not happy. He's acting strange in the dressing room. You know, so do you want more of that? Is it Ange's fault? You know, or do you want to bring in a guy like Eze and say, see you later, Gio?
Spurs of old sound like, let's give Gio a 2-year extension. Whereas I'm hoping the Spurs of new just go get themselves fucking Eze. I saw this as well 4 hours ago before the show when I was looking for Tottenham news. It's in Spanish. I couldn't find an English version, so I'm going to try and translate for you here, Nick. It says, El Delantero, Netherlands, Brian Bobby, 22 years old. Brian Bobby plays for Ajax in the Netherlands. Indica que su sueño como futbolista es fijar por el Real Madrid, Manchester United, Arsenal, and Tottenham. So by my reduction here of my broken Spanish is that Real Madrid, United, Arsenal, and Tottenham are interested in this Brian Broby from Ajax.
I've heard a little bit about that. Yeah.
What do you think? This is the first I've heard of it today. It was right before the show too.
I don't know how much is in that more than any other. He's a winger, right? Or is he a striker?
He's a winger. I believe he's right wing.
Yeah, yeah. But I just chalk that up to the paper talk that we're hearing with any other attacker. Apparently, we're only getting in one attacker, but we're still linked to 6 other attackers.
So per SofaScore, he's a striker, and his heat map would suggest he's a striker as well. And Steve says striker, Fonzie says striker, everyone says striker.
Okay, he's a striker.
I didn't watch the Eredivisie this year like I did the year prior. So when I spoke on Johan Bakayoko, it was on what I saw in the last 6 months after Nani was sold, because that's when I was watching a lot of PSV. And admittedly, because I did a whole bunch of appearances on rival channels, I watched a lot more Premier League than rather than scouting who Tottenham should sign, I actually watched Premier League football more.
How dare you?
Yeah, so Brian Broby, I've heard of him, but I've not watched him. I can't remember a game where I said, "Oh yeah, there go Brian Broby." You know what I mean? I'm very honest with my audience, with the people who tune in and view, and yeah, Broby's a 9. So he's a Netherlands. He's a Dutch striker. I like a Dutch striker. I cannot lie. Shout out Bergwijn.
I get worried about that.
Valued at $37 million.
I mean, that's a lot for
he's
somebody.
Started 29, 18 goals, 8 assists, so 26 GA. 26 GA and 30 goals in the Eredivisie. He also played in the Europa, 6 appearances, 2 goals, so he scored in Europe. I mean, I would say this. It makes me feel better about the prospects of him when there's names like Real Madrid, Arsenal, United next to it. Because it makes me think that at least we're heading in a direction where top clubs want this talent. Because United are all in disarray right now. And so they're trying to get back to where their fans believe they should be. Because remember, I mentioned it and I kind of rambled on for a long time, but Erik Ten Hag won 2 trophies in 2 seasons. If we had a manager win 2 trophies in 2 seasons, do you think we would all be wanting him out at the end of that second trophy? Everyone said, all right, let him coach the FA and then get him the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And he won him 2 trophies, which is crazy to me. I mean, for FA Cup and a Carabao Cup in consecutive seasons, I would do disgusting things that I'm not going to mention live on air. But other players that United are also looking at that we've talked about was Ivan Toney. They're also looking at Jonathan David and Joshua Zirkzee, which I also heard Zirkzee agreed to AC Milan today. So this could be old news per Rob Dawson from ESPN, you fucker. But I actually don't know who Rob Dawson at ESPN is, so maybe I shouldn't call him a fucker.
He's just some fucker at ESPN. Yeah.
I mean, this picture kind of makes him look like some fucker, so... Man United and Man City correspondent for ESPN. There you go. 209,000 followers. Well, does it make you feel better when you see, or does it worry you? For me, I feel like I feel better about where we're looking because in the title I put Arsenal interested in Spurs target. They're interested in a guy that we were talking about yesterday. Where's his name? Look at all these things I had to talk about. But luckily, I had a guest on, so it may, I didn't have to just talk about. But Arsenal have, according to Steve K, which who the fuck is Steve K? Hang on, let's find out. He's a freelance journalist, transfer expert, and football correspondent for Transfer.com. Featured in Caught Offside, which is the Fabrizio Romano podcast.
Gotcha.
So he says Arsenal have joined Tottenham in the race to sign Nottingham Forest center back Murillo. Edu is pushing for the signature of the Brazilian. So Arsenal are now entering the race for a guy that we've been linked with literally since the season ended. For me, does that make you feel better or worse? Because you got to assume from a player standpoint, if it's Arsenal, United, and Tottenham, well, Arsenal are the closest to competing for a title. So
yeah.
But if you're a trophy-hungry witch, then you'd probably say, well, United's won 2 trophies in 2 years. It's been 5 years since Arsenal won a trophy, And then if you're an actual football guy, I think you just laugh at everyone and you say Tottenham's where I want to go.
Yeah,
but outside of that, Murillo's going to chase whoever pay him the most. I can feel that. He's going to want his big payday to be our 4th option. And then I guess you could say backup option because he's definitely not going to start over Romero or Van de Ven. You could argue he challenges Dragusin for the backup position.
No, he's coming in as backup. Definitely. He's coming in as backup.
Arsenal, you would assume the same thing. They have Saliba, who's France's 3rd choice. Could never be Mike Cuti Romero, by the way. He would never be 3rd choice to his nation. He's not a fraud. I just distracted myself. And Gabriel. And after that is
Ben Scheidt, Orange Boy.
But he's their pseudo
left back. Yeah.
Their pseudo right back. Their pseudo left back is their actual backup center back, Jakob Kiwior, I think is his name. The Kiwi guy, Kiwior is his last name. I know he wears the same number as Eric Dyer. That's what I know. Okay. And so you would imagine, he's looking at that saying, well, I'm better than their backups. I'm competing with Dragusin. United, you could argue, is potentially United aren't linked with Murillo, so this is actually a shit point. But Eze and Tony, United are interested.
Who was the other link specifically with Murillo? Was Arsenal?
It's us and Arsenal who are the front runners. And then with Eze, it's us and United. And then with Tony, it's us, United, and you take Kiwior, Jakub Kiwior. Thank you, Timmy. That's his name. Ooh,
gotcha. I didn't even know that. Didn't even know the guy played for Arsenal. Never heard of him.
Some people were saying he's the reason why they lost to Bayern. To me, you just got Eric Dyer. That's what that was. But that's neither here nor there. But again, I guess this is a long way of asking you the question of, when we're linked with players, do you feel better about our prospects because it's like, well, look, they're looking at him too. We're looking at him. That would say our talent ID has gone up, right? Or do you look at it like, well, if they're in for him and we're in for him, they're definitely going to choose him. I mean, I did put that in the poll today. The poll's question with 99 votes, which I guarantee we're not on 99 likes because y'all don't want to like the video. But the question was, which project club is more appealing to Eze and or any player? In regards to Tottenham or United. Right now, 73% says Tottenham and Ainge easily, but we could be biased. It could be just a bunch of Tottenham fans saying that. But, Nick, if you're a player, what's more appealing? Tottenham or United?
It's the eternal question. It's 2 sides of the same coin. Your first question was, how does it make me feel when I hear that these other teams in and around our stature are in for the same player? And that always makes me feel nervous. It makes me feel we're not going to get them because Levy because Levy doesn't like
No,
to.
you're right though. It's always been the case.
And it's weird. It's when Arsenal and Chelsea dropped out of the Ivan Toney thing. I was like, oh, I was like, I don't want Tony. He's got a bad attitude. These other guys want him. We got to be looking at other places. They dropped out all of a sudden. I'm like, oh, we should go after Tony. It's completely counterintuitive, and productive. And I shouldn't be thinking like that, but that's the way my mind works. When we're the only ones looking at them, then I also still just get a little worried. Like, why isn't anybody else coming to pick this guy up? The thing with that is, though, lately we've been having really good success with that. Brian Hill aside, Van de Ven, Liverpool were sniffing, but they weren't making any real inroads in there.
I muted myself. But the thing with Van de Ven and Liverpool is I found a tweet where it was like, these Hotspur Hotlink or whatever the fuck on Twitter, Hotspur fucking transfer guru or whatever. It was like that for the Liverpool Anfield agenda or some shit. And they're like, Liverpool and Klopp have determined that they no longer are interested in Mickey Van de Ven because they don't feel like he's ready for the step up yet. That they'll revisit it next summer. And then we said,
he's ready.
Nice. He's ready for us. Yeah. And then week 1, he was fucking ready. He had 3 training sessions and he was ready. Motherfucker was ready. So Klopp and whoever said that about Mickey Van, I'm thankful because they would have had Van de Ven and Van Dijk. They would have had the best center back partnership. But instead, we got old Tricky Mickey. And to me, it was because Liverpool pulled out of the race that we got him. Yeah, and you could argue, like in the summer, last summer, I said Liverpool were my dark horses to challenge for the league over Arsenal. I felt like if anyone's going to challenge, it would be Liverpool. And yeah, see, talk as a Liverpool fan. See, but this is what I'm talking about. Is I picked them in the summer as I felt like they would come in second and genuinely challenge for the title. And they were in first place at one point and genuinely had a moment of challenging, but then they fell off. But a Van de Ven in the summer, I think, looks at Liverpool, looks at Tottenham, and he picks Liverpool. I think as a player, if you're looking between Arsenal, you're looking at Tottenham, you'd say, well, Arsenal are probably closer to winning something than Tottenham, so I'd pick them, as much as that painstaking me to say. But this brings up another topic that I want to get into. But do you have any other thought? It's about Kuti, and I've been having hot
I know you think
nightmares.
about Kuti a lot. Yeah.
I think about Kuti a lot. There's a photo I sent to a few WhatsApp groups. You know what? I might just download it and pull it up anyway while I get your thoughts here. But Kuti, I'm afraid, and I wake up in the night screaming.
A little worried.
I wake up
a little worried.
I wake up and I'm sweating, and I'm ah! Is how I wake up. My wife says, "What's wrong?" My baby starts crying. My son, he wakes up and he's like, "What's wrong, Daddy?" This is what's happening. And I said, I'm scared that if we don't win a trophy next year of some kind, any kind, or at least go to a final, that Romero's going to leave. That Kuti will say, all right, Barcelona, I will flirt with you. Real Madrid, it's time to pick up your boy. That's what I think will happen. And I think that one of them will sign him next summer if we fail to do anything. Now, if we win some fucking trophies, then not only does that tell Destiny, Van de Ven, Romero, Vicario, and whoever else we're trying to recruit, that, look, Spurs are different. Like what Ainge said, you're going to see a different Tottenham Hotspur. We for sure saw a different Tottenham Hotspur, but it just didn't, bro. If I'm telling you, I don't know if I'll be okay if Kuti leaves for one of these fucking places because we're just that, like, I will be so upset with Tottenham if another one leaves, another one. And I've said it since the beginning of the season that Destiny, like, I got scared. I saw him playing so good that I got scared of Real Madrid are for sure buying. That's where my mind goes. When I see a young player doing well at Tottenham, well, Real Madrid's going to buy him, so what's the fucking point of loving this guy? Gareth Bale.
I know, man. Yes,
Luka
yes, you have those
Modric.
reasons.
This is
There's reasons you should feel it. And listen, for your own sake, I would say just get used to the possibility that will happen because it
No.
could. And I feel
No.
I agree, man, because I think that somebody big comes in next season, next summer window. If we're looking like we're a mess, then he's definitely going. But if we're looking like we're not close, at least close to touching a trophy or haven't won something, then I think he's leaving. And the thing is that you got to also shake hands with is that the club themselves should be aware of that fact and should be making moves they should be doing the Brighton mentality. Where if that's the case, if he feels like he's got to go, he's done his time. He's not a Tottenham fan. He's a Cuti Romero fan, and he wants to do what's best for Cuti. Then you got to bring in somebody who's not going to lose a step. That's where I think that like a Dragusin, instead of going for a Dragusin who was a little highly rated that other people who were big were going in for, was a good move. Even if he's going to sit on the bench for a little while, even if you're going to have to placate him, deal with his agent, all that bullshit, that's what you do if you're a big club. You bring in other players that if somebody goes down, you're not going to lose a step. And it takes balls, and it takes money, and it takes planning.
Romero
We've got
goes
some
down.
of those things.
We are not just taking a step back. We are falling down the fucking stairs. And maybe an overreaction, but I love Cuti.
I love Sonny.
He loves
Sonny.
This is true. You've seen my my avatar. They love each other. In a nice way.
Barcelona will find a way. Don't say that Barcelona don't got money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's
gone. Who's our replacement? Alejo Veliz was the next striker we purchased after Harry. Or was he here when Kane was here? I don't know.
I think he was. I think we picked him up in the summer, right? Yeah. Listen, if we need to play Cuti up front in the 9.
Hey,
you
see him for Argentina? You see him for us?
Yeah, dude.
No center back scored more than Cuti Romero last season. Also, I saw something. Hang on. Danny says Real Madrid will go for Saliva, which
if they want a new Saliva, can't afford Romero.
One is renowned internationally. One is sitting on a bench covered by the shade of that fucking tarp thing internationally. One internationally single-handedly kept the World Cup in Argentina's hands by... If you remember, Dembele had that chance versus, what's his name? He saves it. The ball pingus. Where does it pingus to? Right in front of an open net. And who's right there that could just kick it in? Kylian Mbappe. But you know who said, fuck you, Kylian? Fuck you, France? This is for America? Cuti Romero. All right? That's what he said. And he booted that thing away. So for me, World Cup, Romero. It's always been Romero. And when you look at this season and the body of work, one mistake by Romero all season long. And everyone want to conflate it with his prior mistakes. Hey, my guy's a recovering addict. And all people want to do is be like, well, he's an addict, he's a druggie. Okay, well, he's been a good boy. And he heard you all last summer. He heard all the people. There's a ton of people all fucking last summer. I spent all fucking summer, Nick, and I'm getting angry because I'm just remembering all the disrespect, the blatant disregard for clear and obvious talent in front of your eyes. They all said, if anyone comes in for Romero or Sonny in the summer, I'm selling them because they're not good enough and blah, blah, blah. This is why we still had fucking Dyer and Sanchez. All right? And I'm digressing from the whole point of this.
That's all right, man. That's all right.
Cuti is the caliber of player that you need on your team to be a successful team. But that player won't fucking hang out forever like Kane did, like Son has. That just doesn't happen.
No,
I've
he
not
won't.
seen it. They all leave and they all go. Everyone wins when they leave Tottenham. Fucking Ndombele is still a Tottenham player, and he's won 2 trophies in 2. He's won 2 leagues in 2 years. This is the madness. Unbelievable. And he's not happy here. That guy, Who everyone hates isn't happy here. That's what I'm saying is you got to support the players while they're here. And I'm scared that if I'm genuinely afraid.
You have reason to be, man. You have reason to be afraid of that eventuality if the other tools are not put in there to elevate the rest of the squad to where we all know a champion like Cody Romero should be, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But
because that's what he fucking is, a champion.
I'm never one to get in between anybody's man crush, man, but it's something that you may just have to just come to, you know, just think, man, 12 months from now, it may be a hard thing to see the back of the man. What?
Have you seen this?
No.
It's a guy in the corner. So this is a famous meme. It's been reused 1,000 times over.
Yeah.
And it's basically like a guy at a party being kind of like keeping to himself and being like, these people don't know that I'm really thinking. Like I've seen like these people, they don't know that I'm actually thinking of Ainge. They don't know that I'm actually thinking and I saw this one on Twitter and this is me when I go to my in-laws. This is me when I'm in a WhatsApp group. This is me when I'm live on stream. And I love this meme. I'll be honest. And he's just saying they don't know how much I love Cody Romero. And they say, yes, we do. It's all you talk about. But I'll be honest. It's not all I talk about. I talk about a lot of different things. But if you need visual aid, here you go.
Good. Ah. Ahora ya dejo de ver un poco, pero...
Erik.
Morning.
Do you like scoring against Burnley, your old Leverkusen teammate?
And I love the last part. He grabs that fucking the most important part at the very end. He loves his club. You said he's not a Tottenham fan. He did in that last clip, Nick. I've seen one of our very own never do. I've never seen Harry Kane after a goal going wing, wing, wing. He always goes like a fucking
he kisses
mid-air
his ring
DJ. And then he does that, and then that's all he does. What the fuck is that? Kiss the damn badge. Show me you love me. That's why Pedro Porro, even though he's an average defender and a very good attacker, I think he gets away with a lot because he loves this club and he shows a lot of passion. And a lot of players have got. Lucas Moura had a 6-year career, I think, 7, 6, 7,
based on passion. Based on passion alone.
And a hat trick in Amsterdam 5 years ago.
Yeah.
He'd be like, I know I'm shit now, and I know I missed that chance there, but remember Amsterdam? That was fun, wasn't it? Where we didn't even win the trophy. But without delving back into that fucking painful memory, again, we go on and on about that moment in Amsterdam, and I just think about like, how sad is it? Our best moment wasn't like a trophy. It was like we made it to a final when we shouldn't have. But anyway, Kuti for me, he loves Tottenham. He kisses the badge. You ain't gonna kiss something you don't love. I kiss my children. I love them.
Listen, he won the World Cup. Now he's allowed by the Argentinian FA to show support for his club.
We need 11 Kutis. If we had 11 Kutis, fucking undefeated, 38 wins, 0 draws, 0 losses. That's what the fuck I'm on.
We would be the most feared squad in the world, without a doubt, hands down. You couldn't have more than one Kuti on the pitch together on the same team. You know, it couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle it. You know?
I need 11 Kutis. That's 11 Kutis is Real Madrid Galacticos era. That's 11 Kutis on the pitch. All right, that's the same vibes for me. But anyway,
listen, man, I gotta break out. I gotta check out with the office with the staff and shit, and then.
Well, that was perfect timing because I was actually going to say that I was going to ask for your final thoughts before we say goodnight.
My final thoughts are we ain't getting in nobody into before this Euro start. I 100% am sure that we're not getting in anybody. And then as soon as it's over, everything that we thought is going to change. Everybody who's available, people are going to have shit Euros, going to have great Euros, and everything's going to be on its fucking head. So I'm not, planning on anything until that's over. That's my thought.
Fair enough. Well, Nick, aka Lazy 8, as you're better known in the chat, personally just want to thank you for, first of all, coming onto the channel, spending some an hour and a half, hour 45 with me. It really means a lot. And then also, I want to thank you for supporting my family with the wish list. You're very generous. You're very kind to me and my family. So I really appreciate that. My family, my wife is very thankful. And I ain't forgot about that cello. You wanted to lay down the cello piece, right?
Yeah, man. We're going to get up on that, man.
All right, yeah. Resend me the things. I think it got buried in our conversation, but resend me the track. I'll put it back on her radar. We'll get it solved. But thank you so much. Is there anything you want to shout out before we say goodnight?
Big up to the Irish Hotspur. Big up to the Irish Hotspur. Jack and David. I know Dave's taking a little bit break, but they got big things happening. Everybody, if you're not already subbed to them, what are you doing? Just, have a word with yourself and get on it. But, I represent them every day, all day.
Yes. I love me some Dave and Jack and Irish Hotspur. I always say it's my hub for Tottenham Hotspur because really, like, when I was first starting out my channel, it was like, oh, game day, I'm going to see what they're saying. I'm going to see what's going on there. The pre-match pump up, because they're live. They're like the only one live 3 hours before kickoff, and they're live the whole time. So big up the Irish Hotspur. If you don't know where they are, you can find them at the YouTube the YouTube channel, United Spurs of America. You can find them at the bottom under featured channels, the first one. You can't miss them. They're the first one on my featured channels tab. So big up for that. My final thought is I'm grateful to be able to share the screen with you today, Nick. That's my final thought. So thank you for joining me today.
Much love, buddy. Much love.
And for those of you that haven't already, hit a like and subscribe on the video. I'm ending the poll 106 votes, but I guarantee we're not on 100 likes. So I'm not even going to refresh the page to see how many likes we're on because I guarantee it's nowhere close. But the poll has spoken. Tottenham and Ainge are the most sexually desirable destination, shall I say. And we'll leave that there. And we don't need anyone to refute it. So they can all hold that. And as always, folks, for those of you on playback, big up to you. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you hit a like and all that. Hopefully you enjoyed. I don't think we had any super chats, but big up to Dermot for being a member for 3 months and being the lone and sole sponsor tonight for the show. Big up, Talk. Big up everyone in the chat. I do appreciate every single one of y'all being here. I hope you have a great rest of your week. We'll see you when we see you at some point. Hit the notification bell and you'll find out. As always, stay blessed, stay fresh, up the lads, and come on, you Spurs.
Peace.